Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu mavit vishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 16 to 20 of chapter 3. Evam pravartitam chakram.
Evam pravartitam chakram.
Nanuvartayati hayah.
Nanuvartayati hayah.
Aghayurindriya ramah.
Aghayurindriya ramah.
Mogham partha sajivati.
Mogham partha sajivati.
Yastvat maratireva syad.
Yastvat maratireva syad.
Atmatriptascha manavah.
Atmatriptascha manavah.
Atmanyeva cha santushtah.
Atmanyeva cha santushtah.
Tasya karyam na vidyate.
Tasya karyam na vidyate.
Naiva tasya krite narthah.
Naiva tasya krite narthah.
Na krite neha kaschana.
Na krite neha kaschana.
Na chasya sarva bhuteshu.
Na chasya sarva bhuteshu.
Kaschidarthavyapashrayah.
Kaschidarthavyapashrayah.
Tasmadasaktah satatam.
Tasmadasaktah satatam.
Karyam karma samachara.
Karyam karma samachara.
Asakta ह्याचरन् कर्म
असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म
परमाप्नोति पूरुषः
परमाप्नोति पूरुषः
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम्
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम्
आस्थिता जनकादयः
आस्थिता जनकादयः
लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि
लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि
सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि
सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we are seeing the messages which are deeply embedded in verse number 17 of chapter 3. Now, why I'm saying the messages are deeply embedded is because when you read these verses superficially, you will get certain messages. But it is only when you go into the depth that you will get the real sadhana messages. See, if you want to visit a place, explore a place, now there are three ways of going about it. We can say three different levels of exploring. The first is exploring a place in a generalized way. If you contact a tourist company, an agent, now he may organize a plan for you. Let's say you're having, the first thing he'll ask you is how much time do you have. So you say, I have 2 days. So in those 2 days, he will arrange for trips to some key places within that city or wherever it is that you want to explore. And he will give you a time, like supposing you're a part of a group. Now they'll take you to one particular, let's say, museum. They'll say you have 1 hour, just generally have a look and come back. Then after that, we are going to go to this place, that place. This is one way of exploring a place. Now, this will give you a general overview, but it will not really help you to explore the place fully. You will get an idea about all this. The second way is where you spend more time. You explore each and every part of that place, taking more time. That will help you to get a comprehensive experience of what that place is. And then if you spend much more time, let's say you stay there for a few months or few years, you will absorb the energy of the place, the culture, everything. You will begin to deeply understand the history connected to that place, how people think, from where are they coming. so many small things you will start feeling. It is the same thing with respect to these verses also. If you just superficially read this verse, we'll take verse number 17 as an example. Now, you will no doubt get an overview of what this verse is talking about, but it will not be an in-depth knowledge which can really help you in your life. The next thing is you spend more time, we go into the depth. That is when you begin to get those sadhana messages, the practical messages which you can take and apply in your life. And then when you go further and further deep, you begin to absorb the energy of this verse. So this is true with every verse. So in the yogic approach, we do all the three. Initially, the literal translation is given to you and a kind of an overview is given. Now, what is interesting is there are many people who stop with that. They are so satisfied with that because they don't have the depth. Just getting an overview, just to know a few things from these verses superficially, that is not going to really help you. It may satisfy your curiosity. That may satisfy the casual curiosity which you have. But that will not satisfy you in a deeper way. See, even while visiting a place, some people just have a curiosity. How is this place? How is that country? How is this city? For them, just a 2-day tour is enough, or even a 1-day tour should be fine. They'll pack, the whole day. You go here, spend 10 minutes, and go here, spend 10 minutes, go here. It's doing like that. So you just get an artificial feeling of satisfaction. I've also been to that place. I remember many years back when I was traveling in the train, we were coming back to Chennai from Delhi. So a little boy, whenever the train stopped in any station, he used to read that station's name, and then he used to jump out of the train, and then immediately he used to get back in the train, and then he used to say, "Hey," as if he has achieved something. And if the train was stopping just for a few minutes also, for a second he'll step out and then again he used to come in. So then I asked him, why are you doing this? You're reading the name of the place which is there on the board as the train is about to stop, and then you're stepping out, immediately you're stepping back in. Is it because I'm getting that feeling? I can go and tell my friends now that, I have visited all these places. He was noting down the names of all the stations. For example, if let's say it crosses Vijayawada station, he'll used to just jump out again, come back and I have visited Vijayawada. Now, if you really think about it, what he's saying is technically correct. He has visited all those places. But would you really say, in the real sense of the term, has he been to those places? No. Even when you're going by flight, let's say it's going via another country. Now you can just look out and see that country at a glance. And very technically, that airport where you're transitioning now, that belongs to that country only. Still, you will not say, I have visited that place. So, to get a very generalized view of these things is of no use. Yet, people just do that and they claim that they have gained knowledge of the scriptures. They say, I have read the scriptures. It's like that boy saying, I have visited so many places. So, in the yogic approach, we do that also to start with. That is only the starting point. So that, whatever little extroverted, superficial curiosity which you may have, that will die down. And then we start exploring the verse. We slowly get into it. We eke out the sadhana messages, which is what I was saying, deeply embedded messages in this verse. And then, of course, we also invoke the energy behind each and every verse. It is only when you get connected to the energy of these verses that you can understand the true message of these verses. You go very deep and then again it's, it's just like presenting a thesis or something. That is of no use. When can it create a complete transformation of your personality? It is only when you go to the third level. So in the yogic approach, we always focus on these three levels. Having an overview, number one, this is to satisfy the general curiosity. Then going into the depth, picking up the sadhana messages, picking up the deeper messages. That is to satisfy the quest of a sadhak, wherein a sadhak feels, how do I now apply these things in my life? How do I go about transforming my life? So to satisfy that, we go into the depth. And then we go further deep and invoke and get attuned to the energy, the higher energy of this verse. That is when the whole experience starts elevating you. The moment you are able to attune yourself to the energy part, then you've gone really deep into it. It becomes a very powerful sadhana for you. When we were doing chapter 1, everyone was so thrilled because when I started, I said, we are not going to study the Bhagavad Gita merely as a text. We are going to go deep inside as a sadhana. It's a meditative approach, yogic approach, and we are going to recreate the energy of Lord Krishna. See, when Lord Krishna gave to Arjuna, what was that energy? How elevating it would have been, how deep and meditative it would have been. So that is one important facet of yogic approach. See, in many contexts, I have been giving you different facets of the yogic approach. You may wonder, sir, is this true or that true? See, these are just different dimensions. I am explaining the yogic approach in different contexts so that your understanding of it deepens. You get a comprehensive knowledge about it. So, in this verse, he uses two words, yaha manavaha. This is what we saw. But one who does these things, that is, who delights in the self alone, satisfied by all this, manavaha, that human being, that person, for him there is nothing which ought to be done. So what is interesting is, one sadhak, she has, in her, when she has presented her points in the YouTube, the comment section, no, she has mentioned one very interesting point here. That is, she says when she first heard this translation, she completely misunderstood this verse. When you say, but one who delights in the self alone is satisfied by the self, extremely content only in the self. For that person, there is nothing which ought to be done. How she took it as is that he's talking about a person who is so self-centered, a narcissist, constantly thinking about oneself. And when you're so preoccupied with yourself, how can you do yajna? How is it possible? So she almost concluded that this verse is a continuation of the previous verse of a person who does not follow yajna. So what she has written is, it was a real revelation when I basically understood that he is not, he is talking about self-realization, not a kind of a self-centeredness in a relative sense. Not self-preoccupation, but self-realization. This was a very big shift in thinking for her. Now, why I am mentioning that here is, there are many people who interpret this verse in that way, as a continuation of the previous verse. Oh, he is talking about a person who is not following yajna, who is only delighting in the self. See, eva means alone, one who delights in the self alone. You can take it as one who is delighting only in himself or herself, satisfied by the self, extremely content only in the self. For that person, there is nothing which ought to be done. Means that person is capable of doing nothing. You can interpret it that way also. Now, which one is true? This is what I'm saying. You should feel the energy of it. Only then you can really grasp the real truths of these verses. Even if you are not so meditative, if you are unable to go to the energy level, as a part of your analysis, if you understand the significance of that word too, but, then the whole puzzle will fit. The moment he uses the word but, it means there is a change of flow, the thought flow is changing now. So this is the danger of stopping with a superficial understanding of these verses. So it is not only this verse, the entire scriptures have been misunderstood. The Bhagavad Gita has been totally misunderstood. Many people say, sir, in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, I only created the varna system. Varna means the four varnas, the classification, the Brahmana, Vaishya, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Now, Krishna himself says, therefore, Bhagavad Gita is promoting caste system. Like this, people are misinterpreting everything. First of all, since I mentioned that example, I'll give a small explanation of that. First of all, varna does not mean caste. There itself, they are making a mistake. It's just a superficial understanding. In Tamil, there is a beautiful phrase for that. Nunipul merdu, they say. When let's say a goat is grazing grass, a cow is grazing grass, nunipul means just the top portion alone, it just kind of nibbles with that. Nunipul merdu. So you just kind of superficially go through the scriptures and then conclude something on your own. This is what is happening everywhere. So when you are attending these sessions, like as that sadhak who is very sincere, she has put her point, many such misconceptions will all be clarified when we are doing the yogic approach. So varna does not mean caste at all. It is a classification. Classification based on what? If you go to the entire verse, the rest of the verse only you will understand. It says Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam, which means I created the Varna system. Based on what? Two factors he gives, Guna and Karma. Guna means qualities and Karma means action. So based on your action and qualities, inner qualities, these classifications have been made. He never says Janma. Janma means birth. So this classification is not based on birth. Anybody can be a Brahmin or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra based on the inner qualities. It is not determined by birth. If I get into that, we'll have to spend a lot of time. So when that context comes, I'll explain it in depth also. Because later on, he'll also be giving the positive qualities of all the four varnas. And what is most interesting is, all these four varnas are present within each and every individual. You have a Brahmin aspect in you. You have a Kshatriya aspect in you. You have a Vaishya aspect in you. You have a Shudra aspect in you. And you need to learn to balance all these forces. So this is a very deep sadhana practice which he is giving. So unless you go into the depth of it, unless you use the yogic approach, you will not be able to get those messages. Superficially just reading something, misunderstanding that, and then spreading false things. That is what has been happening for ages now. This real wisdom has got lost because of false propaganda. Why is there a false propaganda? Because of a superficial understanding. So, when you go into the depth of this verse number 17, and we are going right from beginning itself, that energy is being invoked so that the automatic depth is triggered within you. So when we are going to that level of depth, Now, session by session, your personality is bound to get transformed. So why did I spend quite a bit of time on that word too? But because the flow is changing. It's not merely the thought flow, the energy flow itself is changing. And when you start identifying with that, your thoughts, emotions, everything will get aligned with that energy flow. Many a times I say, no, go with the flow of the energy, go with the flow of the energy. This is a beautiful principle which you can practice here and also in your life, in every experience of your life. You need to learn to go with the energy flow. That's so important. So, but yaha manava. This, I gave you the significance of that in the last session. So, yaha means put yourself there, whatever be your level. Manavaha means derived from the word man, one who has a mind, is called a human being, manavaha. And the mind has tremendous powers. As a human being, you have the capacity to awaken all those powers from within. And when you start awakening those powers, your whole personality gets transformed. So at the relative level, you have the conscious mind, which consists of your external emotions and your logical mind, which is what we call as buddhi, external logic. Then you go deeper, you have the subconscious mind, those deeper emotions, the deeper analysis which is there within you. Then you go further, many deeper layers of the mind, both in terms of emotions and thinking. And then when you go very deep, there is something called the superconscious mind, which gets awakened when you do the yogic sadhana. When you do your sadhana on a daily basis, slowly, as you start tapping into your own mind, the different powers start getting awakened. It is to facilitate that process only we have the empowerment courses. For those who are attending the empowerment courses regularly, you will find that from the conscious level, you will start getting control over your subconscious level. First, it will start off at the conscious level, then subconscious, and then you will start going deeper and deeper. And a stage would come in your sadhana where you awaken the superconscious mind. It's a very deep yogic state. When the superconscious mind is awakened, qualities like detachment, the power to manifest, all that becomes very spontaneous. You have a thought or an ichcha, a desire, it gets fulfilled. This is what is said in the Upanishads also. Whatever a person with a pure mind desires, that fructifies. And then from the superconscious mind, you grow further, you go more and more deep. The mind starts expanding. The consciousness expands and it also expands the mind along with that. And you become one with what we call as a cosmic mind, which is a reflection of the collective consciousness. And the collective consciousness creates the energy of an environment, of an entire nation, of the whole world. See, collective consciousness means individually each one has his or her own consciousness. But when everything put together, we call it the collective consciousness. That determines the events of a place. When the collective consciousness becomes very negative, that is when turmoil starts happening in the world. They call it as Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga means the collective consciousness of the world has become very negative. Satya Yuga means the collective consciousness of the world has become very noble, positive. The other yugas are in between. The proportion will vary. So, if you really take the present time right now, the collective consciousness is quite negative. So then how can you contribute to the welfare of the world? It is by doing your sadhana properly and purifying your individual consciousness. So what you contribute to the collective consciousness will become positive. Sadhana is the way. A yogi who has expanded his mind to the cosmic consciousness level, the cosmic mind level, will be able to contribute so much to the world by meditating and radiating the energy of peace, happiness. A lot of healing can be done. Many yogis who are sitting quietly and meditating, they are unknown. They are balancing the energies of the world. That's why we bow down to these great yogis. A person who doesn't understand all this will ask, oh, what are they doing? They're just simply sitting. It's not simply sitting. You have to understand this in depth. So when as you begin to discover your own mind, as your mind starts opening up, the manava portion of you starts increasing. It's only then you're living up to the true potential of a human being. And then when you go to the cosmic mind level, that's a very powerful state. The great Maharishis, the great Siddhas, yogis, they help the entire world, the whole universe, from wherever they are. And then comes that state where it goes on expanding and it merges with the infinite. You get into a state of no mind, that is beyond the mind. That is the state of enlightenment. So, yaha manavaha, that person who is a human being, that combination has tremendous power. That's why to trigger that process only, I asked you to put yourself wherever yaha is. And then yaha manavaha. What do we mean by manavaha? One who has a mind. What do we mean by mind? The conscious, the subconscious, all these things. When you start learning, now your personality will start expanding. When you do your sadhana, you can practically actually see these things happening. Earlier, you would have functioned merely with the conscious mind, superficially. Now, you will get more depth. You will start getting more clarity. You will understand things in a different way, beyond mere superficial expressions. And that will go on deepening. See, this yogic wisdom changes the very perception which you have through growth, through inner growth. It's not that we are sitting and putting another new thought. No. It is getting over all these limitations and seeing the truths of life as they are. So, yaha manavaha. So, after that, what is he giving? But one who delights in the self alone, atma ratihi, and is satisfied by the self, atma triptaha, extremely content only in the self. Atmani evacha santushtaha. For that person, there is nothing which ought to be done. See what he means by there is nothing which ought to be done. We'll see that also, because that is so powerful, you know. If it's a small misunderstanding, it will give a totally different meaning. So you have to be careful. So he basically uses three words: ratihi, triptaha, and then tushtaha, santushtaha. And all these three have been related to Atman, Atma. So in verse number 15 itself we saw, no, Sarvagatam Brahma, how from Brahman you move to the imperishable and then to the all-pervading Brahman. Now here he is using the word Atma, means your soul, that which is not material. See, even when we say soul, the way people understand it is what is portrayed in the movies and all that. A white figure. Sometimes, you know, it's like a ghost. They are portraying the ghost as a soul. So sometimes what happens is, in the movies how they show, it's very funny, that soul is also wearing the same dress as he or she was wearing before that person died, you know. Dress means the same color. Sometimes I've found, you know, a person's soul is wearing a belt and all. It's good for a movie, just entertainment. But the problem is it doesn't stop there. That goes inside your mind, and the moment the word soul is said, many people relate it to something like that. So, Atma, when we say it's soul, what we mean is that which is beyond matter, beyond your physical body, beyond your emotions, beyond your thoughts, lies your Atman. So, he is deliberately using the word Atman here instead of Brahman. He has already used the word Brahman to explain the cosmic cycle and all that. Now he is using the word Atman. Why? Because when you get connected to Brahman, your own Atman and Brahman become one. Brahma, that is the Sarvagatam Brahma which we saw, the all-pervading Brahman, the supreme reality, the infinite supreme reality, is nothing but your own Atman, your own self. So we have used the word self with a capital S just to say that we are talking about the higher self. Even you can use a small letter S also. It doesn't matter as long as you understand it properly. So today, the moment we use the word Atman, you think about the limited personality. He is not talking about that. He is talking about the higher self within you. You have a physical body, you have your pranas, you have your emotions, you have your thoughts. But beyond all these lies your higher self. And that higher self is what is called as Atman. And when you start exploring that through sadhana, when you get attuned to your own higher self, you will find that that higher self is actually the infinite Brahman. That is the final stage of realization. So initially, your higher self will be very limited and then it will go on expanding. Actually, the self is not expanding. Your exploration is expanding, we can say. Your experience is expanding. Because some people ask, sir, the moment we talk of Atma, the soul, it is always pure. Why are you saying soul needs to be purified? Actually, the soul is not getting purified. The soul is not expanding. Even though we are saying that, it is already in an expanded state, a purified state. But your experience about that is becoming more and more pure. So you have that infinite ocean. Initially, you take a spoon and take 1 spoon of water. You are experiencing the ocean only, even in that spoon, but according to the size of your spoon. Then you take let's say a tumbler and you immerse it. This much of the ocean you are experiencing. So are you experiencing the ocean? Yes. Fully? No. Then you take a bigger vessel, your experience expands. In common parlance, we say the ocean is expanding from a spoon size to the tumbler size to the big vessel size, and then when you go and merge with the ocean, it has become the infinite. But actually, the ocean is not expanding. So, we use the word Atman whenever we are talking about the individual, and we use the word Brahman when we are talking about the macrocosm, totality. In general parlance, if you ask me, can it be interchanged? Yes, because it all means the same. But just to get some clarity. But then, is it different? No. Atman is Brahman, Brahman is Atman. But your perception about it may be very limited. Your experience of it may be limited. That is what we are going to expand. Just as you're taking bigger and bigger vessels, as your mind starts expanding, your connection with the Atman, with the higher self, will become more and more. And when you expand it fully, you will become one with that infinite supreme being, which is your higher self. So there is a beautiful Mahavakya in the Vedas. Mahavakya means these are great utterances, we can say. Like Tattvamasi means that thou art, that Brahman you are. It's in effect saying the Atman and Brahman are one and the same. I am Atma Brahma. This is the Mahavakya. I am means this. Atma means this individual self. Brahma is actually the infinite self. I am Atma Brahma. Even if you don't know the Sanskritam language, I am, you put it as I am, no, no problem. I am Atma Brahma. That also makes sense. It's a abhyasa vakya. You keep repeating it, not mechanically. It's actually a very deep meditative process. In the future empowerments, when you're ready for that, the full empowerment for that also can be given. So when you attune your mind to the Atman, which is the higher self within you, I am Atma, and then you attune the Atma to Brahma, which is the total infinite self. So I am Atma Brahma. Very, very powerful sadhana. One should not do that without the Guru's guidance, because it can cause the cleaning up process at such a fast pace, furious pace, that one would not be able to handle that kind of energy. So here he is using the word Atman 3 times. Atmaratihi, Atmatriptah, Atmanieva Santushtah. So if you connect it with verse number 15, where he talked about Brahman, now you will understand that he is talking about a person who has done the tapas and gone so deep within. He has realized his higher self, Atma, which is nothing but Brahma. I am Atma Brahma means it is that. These verses put together is only explaining that great Mahavakya, I am Atma Brahma. Bhagavad Gita is a further explanation of the Upanishads. Upanishads are the explanations of the great Mahavakyas. 4 aphorisms are there. The Mahavakyas are explanations of just that one mantra, Om. Om comes out from silence. If we start going deeper and deeper, it takes you to that ultimate. So, you have these finite equipments, the physical body, the emotions, thoughts, all these things are there. But beyond your physical body, beyond your emotions, beyond your thoughts, lies your higher self, Atman. And the entire sadhana is to withdraw your consciousness from these matter equipments, material equipments, and get completely attuned, united with your own higher self. God is not somewhere far away from you. God is present everywhere. But where can you contact God? God means what? Your own self only. It is by going within that you get connected to that supreme reality, your own higher self. So Atma means the higher self. And he says Atmaratihi, Atmatriptaha, Atmanieva Santushtaha. 3 words he uses. If you just superficially see Ratihi, then Triptaha, Santushtaha, all these mean the same. They all mean being happy, being satisfied, basically, delighting. So that's a very generalized understanding, but we'll go into the depth of it. Each one has a specific significance. So much of messages are hidden there. And as you explore that, the amount of positive divine energy which will be created within you will be amazing. So, see, he is talking about this whole thing from the absolute level, but it's also applicable at the relative level. So, we'll be seeing both aspects as we are going into the depth of this. So, basically, if you see these three portions, Ratihi, Triptaha, Santushtaha, he is dealing with three things. That is, we can say three factors. Now, I will give you those three factors. That is, what are the three main criteria, whether you are spiritually developing or not. You can use it as a yardstick also to measure your spiritual progress. With the criteria for spiritual growth, that is criteria, whether you want to measure it or whether you want to learn the higher truths, whatever be your motive, these are the three criteria which he is giving for spiritual growth. What are those three? I am not talking of merely Ratihi, Triptaha and Santushtaha. What is behind those words is what I am giving you now. First, you learn that, and then when we get into the individual aspects, it will be very easy for you. The three criteria which these three principles are so important. They are: number one, happiness; number two, independence; and number three, freedom. These three things are only expanded further and further in this verse by using the word Ratihi, Triptaha and Santushtaha. So, as a person evolves spiritually, these three things will start happening to him or her. Number one, that person will start becoming more and more happy. The moment we say happy, there are so many kinds of happiness. Happiness which you derive temporarily from by getting some object in the world. So, what is the superior most happiness? We will be seeing that. But fundamentally, if you are doing your sadhana properly, you will become a more happy person in life. If that doesn't happen, then you are not doing your sadhana properly. See, generally, when a person claims that I have gotten into spirituality and all that, you will find that that person becomes very serious. They always have a very serious expression like this, and very morose also. You cannot imagine a spiritual person who is full of happiness, cheer, who is enjoying life to its fullest. But that was the life of Lord Krishna. So the first criteria for spiritual growth is happiness. And as you advance in your spiritual path, your happiness will become more and more subtle, refined. You will start becoming truly happy from within. All your stress, everything will go away. Mental stress is a very big issue today. And the solution, the only solution is in the sadhana, the yogic path. Again, when we are talking of yoga, people are taking the physical movements as yoga today. That is only pre-KG level in yoga. The inner sadhana is what is most important. So the first criteria is happiness. How happy are you from within? You may ask me, sir, happy about what? See, the deterioration has happened to such an extent where when I tell you be happy, you're asking me for what? Why should I be happy now? Give me a reason. There is no reason to be happy. You don't require any reason to be happy. A yogi is always in happiness, bliss. Anandoham means I am in that eternal bliss. We had that empowerment program on infinite happiness, no? Anandoham. That is available also online. Now, in that, different facets of this infinite happiness were given to you and empowerments were given to you for all those aspects. And you all gave your experiences after that course and periodically doing the sadhana with those sadhana materials. All of you have been reporting, you've been sending mails and this, that the happiness factor has started increasing so much. So, number one, happiness. Number two, independence. Independence means we are talking of the mental independence. That is, today your mind is so dependent on the world in order to be normal. How do we say that? One by one, if you just imagine that this thing is taken off, that thing is taken off from me, it may be a cell phone, it may be this, it may be that. It will start agitating your mind. Whenever you're dependent on the world for your happiness, now you will be a slave. Whenever you are happy from within, it is a state of independence. Independence gives you tremendous power. A yogi is so powerful because wherever he is, he can just choose to be happy. It has become an automatic choice for him. He does not, it's not that every day he gets up and says, today I am choosing happiness. There's nothing like that. Initial stages, yes. In the initial stages, all that sadhana you may have to do. But as you advance, you get established in that happiness, and true happiness from within gives you that independence. With or without anything, your mind will be stable. Today you require so many things. Then only your mind is normal, stable. A classic example of this would be if you take an extreme case, it's easy to understand. You take an alcoholic, one who is addicted to alcohol. He needs to drink a lot of alcohol just for his mind to be normal, stable. If that is denied now, his mind gets so agitated. Everyone is addicted to the various things in the world. The addiction is in degrees, maybe a little less, more extreme cases is what we call, the psychologists call as addiction. But everyone is addicted. And you cannot prevent the mind from getting addicted. It has to get addicted to something or other. Therefore, these great yogis say, instead of getting addicted to the world, get addicted to the higher self within. Get addicted to sadhana, which will pull you up. When you meet the master, when you start learning, you will get attached. That's a natural tendency of the mind. But you don't need to really worry, because the focus of the master is to push you further up only. That attachment will be turned further and further higher. And when that attachment turns towards the highest, which is the infinite God principle, your own higher self, then that gives you tremendous independence, because that higher self is within you only. So, number one, happiness, number two, independence, and the third criteria is freedom, liberation. In Sanskritam, many words have been used like moksha and all that. We'll straight away get into the principle. Your mind is not free today. You are not free because your mind is not free. It is always preoccupied with something or other. Even if the best of circumstances are given to you, your mind will not keep quiet. It is not free. It will unnecessarily create some issue. If your spouse is harsh to you, your mind will get disturbed. If your spouse is nice to you, again your mind will get disturbed because it will interpret it in a negative way. Is she being sarcastic? Is she being this? Or is he being whatever? This is not that husband or wife. It's applicable universally. Some people say, no, in a momentary thing, they say, supposing they are fighting with their spouse, they'll say, I know one man who used to say this, I don't want anything. If you talk like this, I'll become a sannyasi, I'll go to the Himalayas. Now, with this frame of mind, just imagine if he goes to Himalayas, what will happen? He will go and spoil the peace there. That's what will happen. It is to do with the condition of your mind, not the external place. As Milton said, the mind is in its place. It can create a heaven out of a hell or a hell out of a heaven. Our yogis have given out the same message. Right from time immemorial, they've been saying it's all to do with your mind only. Today, you are not a free person, you are a slave to your own mind. So, when you shift your focus inward to the higher self, then your mind becomes free. I told you that is when you're becoming a true Manavaha. You're gaining control or you're gaining mastery over your own mind. A true Manavaha is one who has gained complete mastery over his or her mind. That is the state of total freedom, total liberation. We have the Nirvana Shatkam, 6 verses to liberation, Nirvana, moksha, all these things mean the same. I mean, they have so many other facet dimensions, but in this context of this verse. So these 3 criteria are most important as far as our inner journey is concerned. Number 1, happiness. Number 2, independence. And number 3, freedom. It is only when you understand these 3 criteria, you will be able to get into the depth of this verse. That's why I'm first giving you these points. You absorb them. And then in the coming sessions, we'll go into the depth of Atma Ratihi, Atma Truptaha, Atmanyeva Santushtaha. Without this background, it will be very difficult for you to explore this in depth. So we'll stop with that here. Reflect on these points and relate these points to your life. How happy am I? Just ask yourself 3 questions. How happy am I today? See, don't just mechanically give some answer. Some people, how happy are you? 30%? They say. 40%? On what basis are you fixing these percentages? See, you have to approach it with more depth. What are the good things I am having in life? I am having a nice house. Just an example. I am having a wonderful wife or husband. When I say wonderful, some of you may find the resistance. Okay, I am having a wife or husband. I am having children. I am having a parent. In spite of all this, how happy am I? What is my happiness factor? Before you got married, you were stressed in a different way. Oh, I don't have a partner. Okay, now you are married. Now you are stressed in some other way. That's all. Stress is common. You have to think about it. This is how you can relate it to your life. How independent am I? One day when something goes wrong, let's say there is a power cut for 5 minutes, the mind gets so agitated. I'm just giving some simple practical examples. So how independent am I? Then how free am I? All the way you go from your place to some other place in the other corner of the world for a holiday. Sitting there, you are so highly stressed. That internal freedom, how much of that are you experiencing? Just start examining these factors within you. It will help you so much in the coming sessions where we are going to go into the depth of Atmaratihi, Atmatruptaha and Atmani eva Santushtaha. Okay, so in a relaxed way, just explore these three factors which have been given to you: the happiness factor, the independence factor and the freedom factor. This base will help you to further get into the depth of this verse. Now, before we do the Nididhyasana meditation, I will take up one question. Dear Yogishri, I have a question. You explain to us every verse and every word with so much depth using the yogic signs. Bhagavad Gita happened during Mahabharata time between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. It was recited by Vedavyasa, and it seems Lord Ganesha was also involved in writing part. Not it seems, that's what is the truth. It's been clearly mentioned. So I wonder how the selection of deep words would have progressed from Lord Krishna to Vedavyasa. Because eventually Vedavyasa was not there when all this happened. You mean at that particular place. So how did he come to know what Lord Krishna told to Arjuna? Or was it Vedavyasa would have coded the energy into words, the linguistic part? How did Vedavyasa, how would he have coded the full energy what Lord Krishna told to Arjuna? Sir, can you help clarify sequence of events? Gratitude. Now, you asked a very interesting question. What you're saying is, Lord Krishna gave the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now, Vedavyasa, who recited this to Lord Ganesha, who later on wrote it, who wrote it, that portion you don't have a problem because Vedavyasa is saying and Ganesha is writing. But how did Vyasa get to know what all Krishna told Arjuna? This is your question. So you are asking about the sequence of events. So there is no sequence of events. See, this is the yogic secret. Why? That way we are right now sitting here. How are we decoding the message which Krishna gave to Arjuna, which happened 5,000 years back? Same question can be asked here also, no? Atmaratihi, atmatriptaha, atmanyeva santushtaha. What is the meaning of all that? How are we decoding that? So instead of asking for the sequence of events, what you should ask is, what is this process, yogic process? So this is a very deep secret of the yogis. See, for you, time is linear. You have the past, present and future. But when you do sadhana, tapas and raise your consciousness, you go beyond the kala chakra, the wheel of time. Your consciousness goes beyond the wheel of time. And sitting from there, you can actually see that time is actually not linear. It is a chakra. It is in circular motion. That is a fundamental difference between what the yogic, the great yogis who were inner scientists, how they viewed the world and how the modern people are viewing. Here, time is being seen as linear, whereas our yogis saw it as cyclic. Even the yugas, they say they repeat themselves again and again. Everything happens in a cycle. Fortunately, we covered it, that in the previous verse, that is chakram. So when you understand that time is a cycle, now you are sitting in that cycle. The problem is you are sitting on the circumference of the cycle. So you are moving along with time. But let us say through sadhana you move to the center of the cycle. That is, you merge with Brahman, the supreme reality. Now the cycle, the wheel of time is revolving and you are stationary in the center. With that clarity, in deep meditation, you can map the entire sequence of events. What you call as a past or what you call as a future or present. So, yogis talked about the past, yogis talk about the future, they talk about the present from a higher standpoint. This is number one. When you are caught up in that wheel, time will look linear. You will not have the capacity. It is only when you become a yogi, when you do the tapas and go to the center, that you can actually, you will go above the kala chakra. The second thing is, sitting wherever he is, a yogi has the capacity to travel to any place at any period of time, energy wise, and capture the essence. This is a very deep yogic science. This is a secret of the Siddhas. That's what Valmiki did. Sitting wherever he was, he went to the future and wrote the Ramayana. We are doing that in the yogic approach. Right now, what is being done? Right now means I don't mean this moment. I'm talking of this entire, all these sessions. What are we doing? We are getting connected to the energy of the Bhagavad Gita. How Krishna gave to Arjuna, what exactly he gave. So as you go deeper and deeper in sadhana and meditation, then only you will be able to do it. A yogi can do it very easily. So even when a student approaches a master, if he is a true master, he will not go by what the student is saying. He will directly connect with the energy of the student. So sometimes the student will get confused because he will ask something, the master will say, do this. It may look unconnected, or he may say, you are having, let us say, jealousy within you, or that is what is causing this problem. Student will not get convinced because he is not aware of what is happening inside. So Vedavyasa, being a great saint, a great yogi, he had these yogic powers. So sitting right at his place with a divine inner eye awakened, he had to just project that vision wherever he wanted to, he can project it. So through that he can receive all those like in the, today since the scientific advancements have come about, you can easily know how the satellite picks that particular frequency. So your inner mind, the deeper mind, is like a satellite. It can actually pick up various frequencies of energies. So prana tattva level 1 has been given. As we go further and further, we will be exploring into the science of energy. Even in the higher empowerments of Yoga Sankirtan, this exploration of the higher energy will be taught to you. So when you start practicing all that, you will be able to do this. It is amazing actually. So it's a very good question. When you look at it from the three-dimensional world, it looks illogical. But then this is not dealing with merely the three-dimensional world. These principles belong to the higher dimensions, which is the secret of the great yogis and siddhas. So a yogi, he doesn't need to do anything. If he just reads one verse of the Bhagavad Gita, he just has to close his eyes. I'm only demonstrating. Even with open eyes, it can be done, but just dramatizing it a little bit so that you get it. He just has to close his eyes and get connected to that energy. Then he'll be able to actually feel, see everything which happened, what Lord Krishna gave. He can do it to any event at any period of time. And what is most interesting is those powers are there within you. They are hidden today, they are dormant. Manavaha means discovering the powers of your own mind and then going beyond mind. Okay, so now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper within myself. Beyond my physical body, beyond my pranas, beyond my emotions and thoughts, lies my real self. My higher self is infinite and divine. From this moment onwards, I choose to do my daily sadhana and live up to the potential of a human being. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Wriggle your fingers, your toes, open and close your palms a few times. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. And cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, your cheeks, forehead, the top of your head, the back of your head, your neck, and slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. We had a very deep and powerful session today. Yes, because this verse itself is like that. It's talking about the highest state. So using the yogic approach, we are getting into the real depth of this verse. We are connecting to the energy, which was given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. That energy was transferred through these words. So this is the yogic science, and that is being decoded and it is being given to you. So consider yourself as so blessed because you're receiving the knowledge, the wisdom, and the energy also. So all you need to do is put your efforts in terms of reflection, practical application, and be regular in your sadhana. That's all. Okay? So we'll continue in the next session. Thank you very much. Hari Om.